Lenin's not having a meltdown, he's describing a collapse. Elders freezing, youth hopeless, workers squeezed dry. This isn't hate, it's heartbreak.
My name is Lennon Lawson, and I'm a truth speaker for the British people. And I will make sure our voice is heard whether they like it or not. Because what we're seeing in this country is not progress, it's a collapse. Our elderly are freezing in the winter, our youth can't afford a future. Our working class, the backbone of this nation, are being squeezed until there's nothing left. And while we suffer, they hand out homes, hotels, and handouts to people who have never contributed a thing to this nation, all while ignoring the ones who built it. We're told to shut up, stay silent, and to accept it all with a smile. But I won't, because I'm not afraid to speak for those who feel ignored. Now, this country isn't racist, it's not hateful, it's wounded and it's crying out to be healed. Now, this isn't about hate, it's about survival. This is about protecting those who call Britain home. I'm here to speak the truth, to stand for those who have had enough. And I promise you this, our voice will be heard, loud, clear, and unstoppable.
You can hear the pain in her voice. Generations built this country, now their grandkids can't even afford a flat. Hotels filled, homes out of reach. This isn't just policy failure, it's generational betrayal.
So yeah, I just think it's so sad. We're not racist, we're very embracing people actually. You've got to question, why do people want to come here? People want to come here because we are embracing, we are understanding. But what's sad is my grandfather, he built many of the hotels, many of the houses, the council houses. Do any of us live in them? No. People from elsewhere live in them. His blood, sweat and tears went into building things. The labourers, I can go back 7 generations, English, and they helped build, blood, sweat and tears, deaths in the family, being crippled, yet someone else comes in and they just take it from us, just like that. Yeah.
Taking the hotels away.
So why is it they can't come up with a solution? They're sending all these people coming along the channel in boats into hotels that the taxpayer, you and me and my auntie, worked all her life. She's 76. She used to play on bomb sites. She's seen the trauma. And, yet they're putting them in hotels and it's costing billions per year. So there are hotels being filled up with migrants, then they get taken into houses, flats. Yeah, my daughter is 30, my son is 30, I'm 33. They work full-time, they work really hard, they can't afford anywhere to live.
Zero savings, zero safety net. From 29 to 54, everyone's just surviving. And no, it's not bad spending. It's a broken economy.
I was today years old when I realized that most people in the UK have absolutely no savings. This is a thread from Reddit in the UK jobs subreddit, which says, how much savings do you have? Let me read it to you. So it says, I feel like everyone is skint given the economic S show the country's in. I thought it might be interesting, maybe even motivating to know how much savings you have at different stages of your life. This guy goes on to say he is 29 years old, earning £26,000 a year with zero savings. And I've read some more of this thread and people are basically just going through it right now where they're not earning enough money to basically have a surplus where they can pay to live and also then have enough to save. And most of these people aren't living extravagant lives, they're just living normal lives. But because the price of everything has gone up and their wages haven't risen to match that, people are finding themselves in real trouble. Here's another person, they are 34 years old, £29,000 a year with zero savings, working on bringing their debt down at the moment. It's an extremely slow process in this day and age. Then goes on to give the advice to any young'uns reading this, don't do what I did, be smart with your money. So it looks to be a common recurring theme where people just literally have zero savings and just trying to keep their head above water. There was a bit of saving grace though, as I came across this person who says they're 32, a trolley collector at Asda, £75,000 in savings and own their modest 2-bed house outright. I'm an example of how you don't have to have one of these prestigious 100k jobs to have your financial affairs together. Shout out to this person, I wasn't expecting to see that on this thread. So maybe this is circumstantial and it isn't just a general observation of the UK job market and people's savings. Maybe we do just spend too much on the wrong things, we don't prioritize saving or investing. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, give me a follow if you're not already.
The North makes the energy, the South gets it cheaper. Zonal pricing could have fixed it, but hey, why lower bills when we can just suffer equally?
Alright, so in case you haven't heard in the last week or so, the government has decided to scrap the zonal pricing plan that they've been talking about since 2022 for our electricity system. And the main reason that's being quoted for this is that it would give people in the north cheaper energy than it would for people in the south. Well, currently, under our current system, people in the south have cheaper energy than people in the north. People in London see about, I think it's about £200 cheaper energy per year than people in Scotland. And that's because all of our energy that's produced in Scotland needs to travel down on massive big wires to a distribution hub somewhere just outside of London, and then it needs to be distributed back up to Scotland on some other wires. So we have this huge network of infrastructure that takes all of the electricity generated in Scotland and other parts of northern UK, brings them down to outside of London, and then sends it all the way back up. So it travels twice the length of the country, whereas once it's down in the distribution hub to get to London, it's a couple of miles. So, and not only that, it's distributed amongst the number of people in the area. So where London is more populated, the costs are divided by more people. So that's how our current system works. Zonal pricing would have allowed the energy produced in through green energy measures to be distributed to local distribution centres and given out to the local community when it's needed. It means we wouldn't need to have as much maintenance on these huge networks, and therefore all of our costs would have come down. So when they're saying people in the north would have cheaper energy than those in the south, yes, that's true. But what they've failed to say, which is true and is in the cost-benefit analysis, is that right now all of our energy is about £1,700. It would come down to £1,600 for people in the south, and it would go down to £1,500 for people in the north. Everyone would win, just people in the north would win a bit better. But instead, they're saying, no, we'll keep it as it is for now. And then what they're going to do is they're going to do a single price system across the whole of the UK, so we can all pay excessive costs equally. So this will still increase costs for people in London. Ironically, that is actually the funny thing. The new system that they're talking about, a single price mechanism, will distribute some of the northern costs down south. So rather than us all getting this huge discount because our network costs are coming down and the cheap energy is being used, we won't have to have power stations turned on so long, we won't have to pay for windmills to be turned off. We pay hundreds of millions of pounds a year, sometimes billions of pounds a year, just to turn windmills off. We wouldn't have to do any of that. We'd have all of those savings. Rather than doing that, they're going to split the costs Scotland are currently facing with us in the south. So we'll all pay an equal amount of a much higher value. And that somehow seems, it's not, the government knows what they're doing is stupid, and they've come up with a story to spin, to win over the public. Oh, they were going to charge people in the south more than those in the north, and we can't have that. Well, no, of course not. We understand why you've done this. No. They've taken away huge savings from everybody in the country just so they can say they're being equal and fair when they're not. And the only real winners here are the energy companies. British Gas CEO loves this idea. Surely that should just be a red flag to anyone. I don't begrudge companies like British Gas, him specifically, for wanting huge profits. That's the point of their organisation. It's his job to make profits for the shareholders. But we, the public, pay those profits. That's what we do. That's literally the point. So we should want to see lower profits for these big companies. And if someone like Chris O'Shea, who is the CEO of Centrica British Gas, says, I'm glad that the British government have done this, then you should know the government have gone against consumer interests. They've made things more expensive for us. That's how this is turning out. Oh, and final note on this single price mechanism. It doesn't exist at the moment. They've not given any plans. There's no cost-benefit analysis. They haven't said how it's going to work. And it's taken 3 years of conversations for them to say no to zonal pricing. Which means we've probably got another 3 years of conversations for them to figure out this single price mechanism, by which time we'll have a new government. And then at that point, it's just all meaningless, isn't it? Like, they're just making news but not doing anything. Yeah, that's my frustration. Let me know your thoughts on the UK government's, on Ed Miliband's decision to scrap zonal pricing. And if you have any ideas of other ways people could save energy, please leave them in the comments. Appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the Regulated Guys TikTok channel. Like, share this video. Thanks, everyone.
Ugly streets. No vibe. Knife crime. This guy's done with the UK. And honestly, it's not even a meltdown, it's a resignation letter.
Reasons why I hate the UK. And when I say hate, I mean despise this place, bro. And I'm not even dragging this video. When I tell you I despise the UK, I hate this place, bro. I want to leave. Number one, The UK, especially London, is so ugly, bro. Do not lie to yourself. If you live in the UK, do not lie to yourself. Look outside your house, bro. Go down the road. It's ugly everywhere. Even central London isn't that good, bro. Even central London looks ugly. Tell me how the UK is one of the richest countries in the world, according to Google that I searched up. And it's still ugly. And that is embarrassing, bro. You go to some poor countries in Europe and they look more beautiful than the UK. They look more beautiful than the UK, the poorer countries, bro. Anyways, man, another reason. Bruv, there's no life here, man. Bro, you go down the road in another country, someone else will tell you, hello, how's your day been, you know, even if you don't know them. In London, you walk past someone, what's this guy looking at me for? You know what I'm saying, bro? There's just hatred, bro. Bad energy in the UK, man. I'm telling you, this place is not livable, bro. Another issue is we're still dealing with knife crime and gun crime. Come on, bro. Big 2024. So the UK's too soft. The government's too soft, bro. They won't ever do that. And that's why the UK is going to stay corrupted forever.
Like 86% of people in the UK who are working have less than £1,000 in savings.
Yeah.
I mean, 86% of working people is about 44 million people in the UK have less than £1,000 in savings. Like, that's legit. Like, it's so crazy.
But what really scared me is another report came out that said 1 in 2 adults were financially illiterate. That's 50% of the population. And that includes teachers as well as parents, which is so scary.
So, save your money? Nah. This guy says spend it all. Because in the UK, if you do the right thing, you get punished. And if you go broke, the state rolls out the red carpet.
Well, today I'm in New York. I've just been catching up with the UK news, and great news. The government has in fact caved in some areas on winter fuel payments. But here's the kicker, and I'm going to give you some advice as to what to do about it. You're not going to get it unless you're already on universal credit, which means basically you're living off the state. You haven't got any savings, and you probably haven't built up a private pension. So here's my suggestion. If you're doing what the government says is the right thing, I don't care what age you are, and you're saving like crazy, you're pumping money into your pension, you're topping everything up, you're trying to do absolutely everything that they tell you is right, forget it. Spend your money while you can. Enjoy your life. And when you get to pension age, just live off the state. Okay. You're going to get a lot more that way, a lot further in life, ignoring what the government tells you to do, because this government in particular couldn't give a rat's arse about you and the right thing to do. They just prove that doing the right thing actually does the wrong thing, because they're giving you nothing if you do the right thing. Spend every penny you've got, live for the now, and throw yourself at the mercy of the state. Only thing to do if you live in the UK.
UK's economy is so broken that even investing feels like a scam, and Rachel Reeves thinks we're dumb enough to fall for it.
Does Rachel Reeves actually think we're stupid? Does she actually think we're going to take our money out of our savings accounts and invest them in the stock market for growth? So first of all, it is irresponsible to be suggesting to people who are struggling to save even £1,000 that they should invest in something higher risk. Secondly, how does the lower, let's say 90% of the workforce, including myself, investing what little savings we have in the stock market actually impact growth? How does that help? Like, if you have £1,000 saved and you want to invest it, like Rachel Reeves said, let's say you buy stocks. Okay, so where does that money go? It goes probably to other investors in the same company, or maybe it might go to that company's operations. But let's look at the bigger picture. The economy is terrible, okay? The government has made it hard for businesses to thrive. It's expensive for them to pay employees because of the whole, like, higher taxes on businesses, and also, like, the consumer economy is terrible. Like, people can't afford to spend extra money. Most people don't really have disposable income these days. So businesses are struggling. Like, you hear about it from small business owners on TikTok all the time, like about how it's impossible to make their business work because people just can't afford to spend money. So in an economy like that, even companies like Netflix are resorting to, like, consumer warfare, like trying to bully consumers into spending more. Like, my Netflix actually tried to trick me the other day and tried to like upgrade my account without me asking it to. I am 100% sure I never asked Netflix to upgrade my account to premium, but I got an email the other day like, oh, good news, like on August 2nd, your account's gonna switch to premium. It's gonna be 20 quid a month. I was like, what? Like, I need my fingerprint ID to make a decision like that. So I know that my kids didn't do it. So I know that it's like, I must have like agreed something in the terms and conditions at some point that I didn't realize. But I mean, it's underhanded business, right? They're trying to trick consumers into spending more money because a lot of people are cutting out streaming services because they're so poor. So you've got an economy where consumers cannot spend money. It's very difficult for businesses to make money. So how is a typical saver like me with £1,000 to save going to help the economy by adding to Netflix's capital when Netflix already has a demand problem? It's not like they need more money to serve the many more consumers they're getting. It's like they don't have a supply demand issue. They have enough streaming services and enough like customer service representatives or whatever they have. Like they have enough to serve the consumer population. They don't need more capital. So how does me investing in Netflix actually like grow the economy? Let's take like a more like everyday example. Like let's imagine there's a coffee shop and I have £1,000 to invest. So I want to invest in stocks, like Rachel Reeves said. So I buy stock in the coffee shop. I invest in the coffee shop. I fund their operations. So I give the coffee shop owner £1,000 and they're like, great, an extra £1,000. I'm going to like buy more coffee so that I can sell more coffee. But guess what? Like people can't afford to buy coffee in the first place. So even though the coffee shop owner invests in hiring another barista, buying more supplies, adding another flavor of coffee to their menu, unfortunately, like no one's buying it because they still can't afford it. We haven't solved that problem. Let's take another option. Let's imagine I take my £1,000 and I actually decide to just spend it on coffee. I'm going to go to the coffee shop every day. I'm going to invite my friends and we're going to like keep going for coffees every day until my £1,000 is all used up. So now it's like, okay, I didn't give the coffee shop like more capital, and I haven't really benefited the investors in the coffee shop directly, like the other investors. But what I have done is I've increased their business so that they're making more of a profit, so that their business thrives more. Their investors do get more benefit, more dividends, and they're able to pay their employees well, and maybe they're even able to grow. So you can clearly see it doesn't take a genius to understand that investing in the consumer economy is a much more low risk and effective way to boost the economy, to create economic growth, than investing in the capital market. And secondly, as like lowly plebeians, why is it our responsibility to invest in the capital market? Maybe Rachel Reeves chose this messaging because she thought that saying to people they should invest in the stock market would build confidence in the stock market and cause the market to improve, similar to the way Trump announcing tariffs has an impact on the stock market. And people's confidence in different markets. But that was definitely, if so, that's definitely a bad PR call, because I mean, like, look, I'm not a fan of Trump, but I have to admit that like what he says has a little more economic significance than what Rachel Reeves says, especially given her track record of giving really, really bad advice. Not that I think Trump gives good advice, but like as the leader of the big scary US, obviously everything that comes out of his mouth has like way more political and economic weight than things that Rachel Reeves says, especially like given sort of the weakness of the UK economy at the moment and the fact that, you know, the Labour government is just really, really struggling with PR at the moment. So what do you think? Am I missing something? Is it good advice? Is it bad advice? Should we all take our savings and invest in the stock market? What's your take?
I hate England. This place sucks. The majority of people that I've met in England that are English, no, not all of them, obviously you can't speak for everyone ever, but there's a good proportion of them that are just horrible people. The government sucks, the weather's awful, the job market's terrible, we get paid terribly. I mean, obviously the NHS now was really good and now it's not being funded nearly enough, but when can it ever be funded enough? I don't know. No, I'm not particularly proud to be British. And we've got awful stereotypes for the rest of the world. I mean, we're the most obnoxious when it comes to holidays, and it's just horrible. We refuse to learn other people's languages, and it's disgusting. No, I'd rather be French.
My unpopular opinion of the UK is that for most of you, your salary and income isn't the problem. It's your spending habits as well as your lack of financial planning. Fix your habits and focus on your financial planning if you want to experience a financial breakthrough. Controversial. Yup, you heard it here, folks. It's nothing to do with salaries or incomes or the fact that the UK has a productivity crisis. It's just about your Netflix subscription. Your water bill has risen despite the water companies pumping sewage in our rivers and seas. Your energy bills are rising despite the energy companies saying they're making too much money. Nope. You should be buying the Aldi brand beans instead of the Waitrose ones. That will fix it for you. Despite what the financial gurus might say, really and truly, you can't save your way to being rich. Savings make sense when you can really cut down your costs in a massive, massive way. But for a lot of people, they've already reached that point. At some point, you just need to be able to earn more money through maybe a promotion, maybe a different job, but not everybody is also able to do that. It's just life.
In 2028, wings for £1. In 2024, £10.50 for sadness in a bun. This economy isn't inflated, it's hallucinating.
This is absolutely criminal. I've come to the local flipping PFC to get myself a chicken burger, fries, and some wings. Bruv, chicken burger meal for £10.50. Are you taking a piss? £10.50 for the chicken burger meal. I used to get 8 wings for £1. 8 wings for £1. Now I get it, inflation and that, but no, this is a piss take. It's not exactly like the cost of living in the UK is low. What's going on here? This is abysmal. What a mockery. £10.50 for a chicken burger meal. No, this is criminal. Absolutely criminal. I'm upset, man. Burger Hatch, you let me down, fam. You let me down. The worst thing is I've been craving this. I've been craving the Burger Hatch for a minute. I've been craving this for so long. And I come in as £10.50 for flipping burger and chips. You taking a piss? And you know what? I really wish I could tell you that the burger was worth it, but it was standard at best.
Only 39% of Britons believe hard work pays off. The other 61% probably working 2 jobs and still broke.
So this research came out a little while ago now, but yeah, Britons no longer believe working hard will provide a better life. So only 39% thinks if you work hard, you'll get a good life. And I have to agree in lots of ways, but I think there is an element of disagreeing as well, so I'm going to explain why. So first of all, it's an idea of meritocracy. The idea if you work hard, you will get a good life. And I don't think we have a full meritocracy in the UK. I do believe if you apply yourself in the right ways and you work hard in the right ways, I think you should bring some form of success, or it will certainly make that more likely. But, of course, there are people that work incredibly hard in their life and actually don't earn a lot of money. Or sometimes, let's be honest, we know people that are quite lazy and they do very well. I also think, things like the cost of living crisis, wages aren't keeping up with inflation, all those kind of things really affects people's opinion on this. The director of the Policy Institute couldn't have said it better, to be honest. Millennials have become much more sceptical about prioritising work as they made their way through their career because of the long-term economic and wage stagnation that will lead to younger generations to question the value of work. But to kind of almost counteract that point, UK citizens, in terms of this data, rank very low in the importance that they place on work. And is this a reason why we're not succeeding as well? I mean, if you look at the top countries, you can see there, but then we start to get into comparative countries. Look, you got France, fine, you got Norway, you got Germany coming down, Japan, US, and look, right at the bottom, UK. So is that another element that people aren't valuing work enough, so they're not applying themselves? Yeah, it's certainly an interesting debate, and I want to hear your thoughts on it as well, so let me know in the comments. Oh, and while you're here, of course, don't forget to like and follow for more finance and investing content.
Guys, are we all going to go to prison? If we are, I need some prison tips below. because I've just spent £500 on a gas and electric bill. Yeah, for the height of summer. £500. And it's awkward because I'm not going to be doing that again. So come October, I'm going to be joining the no pay, no stay thing. And I just think, like, if I get arrested, like, bloody, I'll have it. Get me to that prison, free food, free water, free gas, free electric. Hopefully they've got some nice lattes for the Gen Z girlies. And if we all go, it might feel like we're at Centre Parks or something. Like, that's the closest thing I'm getting to a mini break this year anyway. So I just think we all just need to look at the positives. Prison, 2K22.
Did you know that nearly 20,000 asylum seekers have crossed the channel in just the first half of 2025? That's a 50% surge compared to last year, and it's happening under Keir Starmer's government. Despite all the promises, they're failing to get it under control. And while these numbers explode, we're still spending millions every week to house asylum seekers in hotels, with Labour saying this won't stop until 2029. That's 4 more years of hotel bills, while British families are choosing between heating and eating. Where's the urgency? Where's the leadership? Because while we struggle, the system keeps getting abused, and we're all paying for it. They are scared to say no more.
Living in the UK is a budgeting masterclass you didn't sign up for.
You walked into a shop, you grabbed the nearest bread you could find, and you get to the cashier and she says, it's £2.35. Is it not just bread? That is because you're still converting to Naira in your head. Please stop doing that. Today, day 6 of our 14 days UK New Arrival series, we're going to be talking about understanding your real cost of living. So let's get into it very quickly. Number 1, rent. This is going to be your biggest expense. Whether you're sharing your flat or you're by yourself, know that your rent is going to eat almost half of your income, especially if you're living in London or in any city capital. Number 2, your utilities. You talk about electricity, gas, your water bill. This is another great cost of living. And don't forget council tax. If you're a student, council tax exemption. But if you're living alone, 25%. But electricity, gas, and water is going to eat some part of your income. Number 3, groceries. Food shopping in the UK takes some real strategy, especially if you're going for African food. Well, for basics like egg, milk, bread, sugar, all those things, you can get it easily in Asda, in Aldi, and other generic stores. But if you want to stick to African shop, you need to budget yourself very well. Again, stop converting to Naira. Don't go and see 1 tuber of your £5 and start screaming, Jesus is Lord. Just know that that is what you have decided. Go for alternatives. Potato in the normal store can replace that for you. Number 4, transportation. Before you start driving, it will be easier for you to get a monthly travel pass, a bus pass that aligns with the city that you're in. It's cheaper that way and you get some savings this way. Number 5, mobile and internet bill. Mobile cost you can get as cheap as £10. Internet providers you can get for £25. So we put them together. So you need to compare the network providers and find one that suits your budget. Finally, childcare cost. This will not apply to everybody, but for the people that this applies to, you are the real odogus, because remember how rent will take almost half of your income. Childcare will take the other half if you're not careful. So you need to look into available childcare arrangements in the city that you are. There are cheaper childminders, and you can also key into the UK childcare allowance if you are eligible. Speaking of budget, you need to get into one of these apps that helps you to track your budget, because here, money does not work, it sprints. So you need to keep track of everywhere your money is going. Okay? All this might seem like a lot to you, but just know that you are in a different place. The UK will help you to plan, prioritize, and reduce your impulsive spending. Once you're able to track where your money is going to, you'll be able to budget wisely. Okay? I'll see you on day 7. Bye.
Wages in the UK are not keeping up with prices.
The salaries and the pay rises are not going up that quick with the prices. The companies can't keep up.
The IMF predicts that while other major economies are growing, the UK's economy will shrink, and the Bank of England expects a recession. But how did the UK get here? And why is the UK doing worse than the US or Germany or France? Well, there are many reasons. For one, its economy took a bigger hit during the pandemic.
They wanted to print infinite money. Everybody wanted to not work during Corona times, which makes sense to a degree, but then they were like, all right, let's just double the money supply so we can pay. The solution in most people's mind seems to be let's print more money that we can pay them. So basically, it's just a never-ending cycle and everybody's kind of screwed.
The annual rate of inflation hit 11.1% last October. That was a 41-year high. It's since gone down a bit.
Most of it increased. Food, groceries definitely increased like at least 15-20%. If at the beginning it was saying that the price is going up like 10%, now we can see the differences in like 2 last year, so 20%.
Meanwhile, the UK is facing challenges with soaring energy costs as it relies heavily on gas-generated electricity, much of that as a result of the war in Ukraine.
Electricity and gas bills, they're probably the first immediate thing that I noticed.
The older I get, the more I can't stop thinking about the fact that when I was younger, I used to glamorize earning money so that I could like afford the nicer things at the supermarket, or to finally stop stressing about like finding the cheap flights for a holiday or something like that. You know, things that you're just used to doing when you don't earn enough money but you're trying to keep up with the cost of living. But I just feel like every year that goes by and you earn more and more, and then because of things like inflation and politics and so many parts about the economy that you can't actually like individually control, things just kept getting more and more and more expensive. I feel like the space between me and that point in my life where I thought everything was gonna become super affordable and super easy has just kept growing. Like, I feel like I was almost sold a bit of a lie when I was younger in terms of, okay, I'm gonna go to uni, I'm gonna earn 30 to 40,000 pounds and that's gonna be enough. Like, if I'm ambitious and I really want to go for it, I can maybe aim for more than that, but the 30 to 40k, that's going to be the dream benchmark, the dream like baseline to be able to just afford a life that's going to make me happy and make me fulfilled, when actually that's just not the case. And it's just so frustrating because I went to uni, I got a first class degree, I got professional qualification, and that still wasn't enough. This is so subjective as well, right? If I had done this but maybe moved and worked in a different industry or lived in a different town or a city, maybe my earning potential would have been different. But the way it worked out for me was just not what I envisioned would happen when you earn a degree, get a professional qualification, and go into full-time work at one of the biggest companies in the world. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else kind of feels that squeeze and feels resentful about it, or how you're actually taking that resentment or those feelings and maybe channeling them into something else. Obviously, I'm channeling those feelings into teaching everyone else what I know about money and what I've learned about money on my journey from like being in an overdraft consumer debt situation to now having like working for myself, doing those things. But I can so understand how it can feel very doom and gloom as well, because that's what I felt like before I started this journey. I was very doom and gloom about my situation and what I could do and couldn't do and what all that hard work was for. Like, it felt like it was for nothing.